Hey, 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 hey. What's good, everyone? Welcome to Speak Pink. It is December 1st, 2020, and listen, we've made it through an interesting year. It's been an interesting year, but guess what? You and I, we are still here. Hey. I am super excited to be here with you all live on Speak Pink. It's December 1st, 2020, and like so many people, I didn't know if I'd make it. I didn't know, guys. I didn't know. I had my doubts along the way, even though I'm a pretty hopeful person by nature. I had some points. When you look at this multi-layered pandemic and then all of the national challenges with race and justice, and then you take in consideration all that we're going through, personally, and, for myself is dealing with grief and single parenting. And I'm telling you guys, I didn't think I was going to make it some days. I didn't know. I wasn't sure. And what I mean by that is I didn't know if I'd have the ability to cope and to manage, but it's the end of the year. We're still here. So I'm super excited about December 1st. I know it's been a minute since I put up an episode on Speak Pink. I can tell you it's been busy. I mean, busy, like a lot is going on. And then in addition to that, I've just had, October, November, December is a tough time for me because those are the months of remembrance, if you will, with my son, Daniel. October is when he was murdered. November, it's his birthday and my grandson's birthday. And then now we're in December, Christmas, which was his favorite holiday of all. And so all things Christmas keep his memory fresh in my mind and my heart, but it makes it difficult. And so, it's been a minute. It's been a minute, but I haven't really gone anywhere. I've just been focusing on some other things, but, I needed to drop another episode of Speak Pink because there are some things from my heart that I wanted to share with you all. And you all know Speak Pink is about inspiration. It's about motivation. It's me talking from my heart to all of you that's listening and just offering, a little bit of my thoughts and a lot of what I've learned and observation, as well as in education, and putting that all together to offer something I believe would be a blessing to you. So on this December 1st, 2020, I want to talk about lessons learned. Lessons learned. One of the things that I've been saying to people about 2020, that this is a teaching year. This year is teaching us some things. However, when you're in an environment and things are being taught, it is important. I mean, important to learn the lesson. My grandfather would say, get your lesson, Najuma, get your lesson. Anytime we talked about school, he said, get the lesson. And, I don't know how to better interpret that except for, learn what you've got to learn, get what you've got to get, open up the books, open up your heart, open your mind and learn and get from this school, get from this education what you're supposed to get from it. And 2020, even though our college students all of them did not get a chance to go off to college. And now that we're back in school, many of our local schools are not letting kids back on campus. But we all got a lesson to learn. 2020 has been one long university classroom. One long university classroom, and many of us are so excited that it's coming to an end. And so I wanted to share with you some of my lessons learned in this first episode of December for our Speak Pink. And all month we'll be dealing with the end of the year kind of review and reflection. And that's the first thing I want to share with you, and I hope that you'll take advantage of, is use this time for reflection. But don't just think about it. I want to encourage you to write some things down. Write down what was the big theme for this year for you. What was the big theme this year for you? For me, it's pivot, but it's pivot and prepare. Like pivot and prepare. I've been preparing myself in a different kind of way for the future. Pivot and then I also had to pivot in the midst of the things that are going on presently. Because pastoring didn't stop, work didn't stop, raising my children didn't stop. So the pivot had to happen, but in addition to the pivot, I had to prepare and still preparing. So my word is preparation for this year. That's the theme of this year, that 2020 is preparing me for something, preparing us for something. And I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to lay eyes on it. I can't wait to behold it. And so I wanted to share with you some other lessons learned. And if any of these things resonate with you, do me a favor, leave a comment in the comment section about what part of the lesson ministered or, blessed you or spoke to where you are. So first lesson learned is I'm stronger than I thought I was. I really didn't know if I could do all of this, all of this, guys, like all of this single parenting, all of this running a household, all of this pastoring, all of this working full-time jobs, all of this still trying to build a business, all of this while in the midst of a pandemic. But I discovered that I'm way stronger than I thought. And you probably are too. And you may not realize it. You may not recognize it, but you're way stronger than you give yourself credit. The next thing that I lesson learned was grief is very real. Now, let me be very clear. I have been grieving for my son, or grieving over his loss of life since end of October 2018. And I thought by now, like I would not carry so much pain, but I still do. And it's okay. This was my son. And it's okay to feel a certain kind of way. But as relates to what we're doing here today, lesson learned that grief is real. And it's a real pain in the derriere. And it doesn't just go when you want it to go. And so we have to we have to contend with it. But know that it's not permanent, right? It's not permanent. It's just process, which is our next point, our fourth point. It's just process. It's not permanent. It's just process. And I do believe that all that has unfolded in 2020 is not permanent, but process. That the things we're experiencing right now and have been experiencing for the last 8 or 9 months, they don't have the power to be permanent. And still, we end up with no promise. And so what this lesson learned this year is that a lot of life is not permanent, but it is part of the process. There were some relationships that were lost along this year, and they weren't permanent, but they were part of the process. I learned so much from a few individuals that there's no way I can be upset that the relationship had to end for different reasons. It wasn't permanent, but it was part of the process. Even COVID-19, the way in which things started is not the way things are now. And God knows we care a lot about all those lost loved ones. And my point is that even COVID, with vaccines, coming as early as December, that some are saying, and then the others in spring, Even COVID won't be permanent, but is still part of the process. I do believe there's a process God has us on, and COVID's been part of that process. The next thing that lesson learned is live fearlessly. Before my son was murdered, I was way more conservative than I am now. And then when this pandemic hit, so I loosened up the belt a lot, and got rid of a lot of fears related to how I relate to people. But this pandemic and the way in which it shut the world down, like the whole world on one day one day everything was shut down across the planet. And it was been like the weirdest time to kind of take that in, right? And all that's happened. And the number of people who died this year, record-breaking numbers. And so life is so precious, and every minute should be lived fearlessly, because we just never know what's going to come next, how it's going to come, from what angle, from what distance, from what challenges will arise. Those things we won't know. So until the next disaster or the next pandemic, live fearlessly. Live fearlessly, which then brings me to my final lesson learned. Live now. Listen, live fearlessly and live now. No longer putting off being something today for tomorrow. No longer putting off what's possible today for tomorrow. Live fearlessly and live now. Like, there was so much loss in this year. I don't want to waste time waiting on anybody. I don't want to waste time being afraid of what people are thinking. I don't want to waste time with people's judgments of me. Life is too precious. Life is way too precious. So I'm going to live fearlessly and live now. I'm going to live without the fear of judgment and people as opinions. Be cautious. Now, that's something different, because you have to worry about safety. So I'm going to live fearlessly of all that stuff that people put out there. All that stuff that people put out there on us, right? On our minds, on our hearts, on our thinking. And I'm going to live now. Do it now. If it's comedy, write the skit now. If it's a song, write the song now. If it's a book, write the book now. Don't worry about perfection. Perfection will come, but what needs to be done now? What needs to be done now? So thank you, everyone, for joining me for another exciting episode of Speak Pink. Listen, I could not do this without you all, and I'm so very grateful. And so as we close out, listen, do not forget to share this with somebody. Don't forget to add a comment in the section below. And remember, live fearlessly and live now. Live fearlessly and live now. Live fearlessly and live now. Give us some likes or some hearts, whatever platform you're on. Go to follow us in Instagram. We put our page information up. And we're going to build our own.